morning, and if you're listening to this on Sunday, let's hope it's the start of a very nice Sunday for you. I have a guest today that I am meeting for the first time. Her name is Alicia Moore. Alicia, first of all, it is great to visit with you after talking to you and emailing or texting a couple of times. How was your morning started?
It's starting very well. Thank you very much. And it's nice to meet everybody.
Well, it is good to have you here and learn about something that, quite frankly, I've not heard of before. It's kind of new. It's a clinical research business that you have formed. But before we do that, let's introduce you to our audience this morning. And let's take you back to your growing up years, pretty close to Syston.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Alicia Moore. I am the founder of Clinical Science Research Solutions. And let me go ahead and go back. I was raised in Parma, Missouri, which is a very small town. And eventually I moved away to Springfield, Illinois to get my education, came back to Parma. It was a lot of back and forth, but eventually I ended up going back to SEMO to graduate with my BS degree in medical technology and minor in chemistry. And then I also went back to get my master's in biology. So I worked in the clinical laboratory space, as a matter of fact, at Missouri Delta for over a decade in the laboratory. And then I was introduced into the clinical research space by a friend of a friend. So I saw that there was a need. I didn't know it existed. So I created my own business and it kind of flourished from there.
It is interesting whenever I talk to somebody that I don't know very much about and I ask them whether they felt that need to leave and then come back. What was it that not only brought you back but allowed you to stay in this area?
I came back, I started a family. So I wanted to be, I was a mom, new mom, and we didn't want to raise our son in like the bigger city. So we had family around in the Boot Hill area that was going to help us raise our son. So that's the reason why we came back, basically because of family. And then I, ventured out and continued on with my career, and here I am today.
Well, it is always interesting. Some people leave just because I've got to get out of here, and they find out that the pastures elsewhere are not as green as they are here. So it is good to see you back. And what is most, I'll bet others say that's very infectious, is that smile that you have.
Thank you.
Well, it's always great to come back. When I left my rural community in northeast Iowa, it was going to the Air Force. Mm-hmm. And on about the first or second day, there was a film, and on the opening part of that, it said, "Who am I, what am I, and where am I going?" Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of people today that don't know the answer to that third question, that is, where am I going? Mm-hmm. They're stagnant. They really have no idea what they're going to do. I think your business is a place that might be right for them. Is that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw the need, first of all, in the clinical research space. I had the opportunity to go to what they call an SOS conference. I was able to speak in front of 300 to 400 people at the conference on patient recruitment and retention. And I really realized that in my area where I lived, in the Boot Hill area, clinical research does not exist. The opportunities do not exist. The nearest opportunity may be in St. Louis, Memphis. And so I said, why not? I should be able to bring that to Missouri, give the high school students, college students a chance to be exposed to that and not just hear about it, within a drop of a hat, if that makes any sense.
Well, I've heard before various things. Usually it has to do with a new drug that is being introduced. Mm-hmm. Is they have clinical research on that particular drug that they're hoping to get into the market. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not talking about drugs here, but is that part of what you're looking for, is people who will help in research in different kinds of trials?
Absolutely. So basically it takes patience. You have to have participants to participate in the clinical trials. And there are different therapeutic areas. So, for example, you can look at your doctors. There are different areas of specialties for your doctors. It's the same thing with clinical research. So let's say, for instance, neurology. If someone was a candidate for a neurology study, then we would get them enrolled in and they'll be able to participate. Let's say I take Qulipta for migraine headaches. So if they were to enroll in that kind of study, well, that particular drug is going to help patients with migraines. So it would be important for this community, this area, to be exposed to that to help push those drugs out to the market.
Well, I would think in particular for someone who just really doesn't know where they're going in life, this would be a good head start for them. If you find that candidate, what are you hoping to help them through?
Well, the candidate would have to either have a healthcare background or looking to just transition into the clinical research space. And so what I would do is help them prep for the interview. I will give them information about the clinical research lingo, what it takes to be in the industry, help them with LinkedIn rebranding, just basically guide them step by step into the research space. And then also what I plan on, what I'm working on is opening up a clinical research site. So whoever signs up or whoever is a participant in my executive coaching program, they will automatically get an internship at my site, which is where I'll have a doctor on board, either they're in family practice or internal medicine doctor. So they'll be able to get the experience, hands-on experience that they need, because right now the market is so competitive. So they're going to have to start at the site level to get that experience. So that's what I have to offer: the coaching package, career coaching package to transition into the space, and then the hands-on experience in my facility.
I would have to think that most of people, and I certainly include myself in this, I worked at a pharmacy for 3 years, so I have the slightest background, I guess. And yet, as I would look at the various medications that we would get in, you have the name brands, and then after a certain amount of time, you can start to create the generic medications for those. But I would have no idea actually how that clinical research is done. Is this a place where you're going to learn more about the ins and outs of how it works?
Absolutely. That's where I come in and teach you the ins and outs. There are phases in clinical research. So you have different phases 1 through 4. There are qualifications that you need to submit to, let's say the IRB. It's a bigger facility, or people that actually oversee that the trials are being conducted in a way that's going to protect patients and ensure that we're doing it correctly.
Well, that may be the most important thing that you said so far, is about that doing it correctly part. And I would think that most of us don't have any idea of doing it correctly. And if this is something that would, kind of wet our whistle, that you're going to guide them through that and to prevent any future mistakes.
Yes, and it will also prevent FDA audits. You do not want FDA audits. So I have to ensure that you are well educated in what you're doing and what we're doing step by step, and then that'll prevent the FDA coming in and doing anything.
Well, anything that has a regulatory part to it, in particular if it's the federal government that is involved, they can get nasty at times. And if you ever get audited, you lost. Just from getting audited, you lost, even though you may not have done anything, and in the end you can prove that what you did was correct. It's going to cost you a lot to get there. So avoidance, I know, has to be primary.
Yes. You have to avoid those audits. And even, let's say, even if there was an audit, there's a corrective action that you have to put in place, like in any employment. If there are some errors that keep happening, you have to find out what those errors are, and you have to prevent, like, they call it a CAPA, to where we find out the issue, why the issue happened. Now, what are some preventative methods that you're going to implement in your facility to stop it from happening in the first place?
Yeah, and I guess when I said getting audited, some audits are routine and are necessary to make sure that you are in compliance with certain regulations, or even within your own guidelines that you have. An audit is not bad in itself. I probably chose the wrong word there. What I meant by that is anything in life where you have to have an attorney present means the dollars are being spent, and even if it turns out you're okay, you still probably lost out significantly. So it's there is a step-by-step program that you're putting in place, and you can't skip steps.
Correct.
Tell us how that works.
So the step-by-step program that I have in place is, one, you're going to follow the guidelines that I have set in place, my protocol. And then again, once I have my site open, I have a team of people that I work with that's going to help me implement more detailed SOPs for my staff that I get ready to hire. So those I will have step-by-step instructions for my facility too. So I have one for my coaching program, and then I also have will have one for my facility.
I would also think that part of this is the doctors are busy.
Mm-hmm.
I always say there's no such thing as I don't have time. I think that's unless you're a doctor. There really are times when just to practice or what their practice is for gets bogged down in paperwork or other types of things that keep them from being the doctor that they are. I would think that you are kind of trying to step in here and say we can relieve you of some of that burden. How do you approach that?
I would approach it as, hey, whenever I bring a physician on board, I'm going to be doing most of the work. You're here to ensure that there's patient safety. Now, as the business grows, I would have to hire more staff, as in study coordinators, someone that's going to do like the regulatory part, or even answering what they call EDC queries for our CRAs, and that's a whole other topic to get into. So I would be relieving a lot of duties from the physician because he is so busy. He or she, they are so busy. So, but they'll still be there whenever I need them to oversee the
Let's take our first time out when we come back.
clinical trial.
Let's find out who is the candidate for this, and we'll do that after these messages. 75 degrees. I said it was 27. Must be Celsius. Celsius. Hey, we should also mention that Dwayne Jones is here with us today. He's from Royal Effects. He is a photographer and videographer in Sykeston, and he is here with Alicia this morning. So welcome, Dwayne. Appreciate you being here. If you need any photography needs, you can get a hold of him on Facebook at Royal Effects. So thanks for him being here along with Alicia, who is the owner of Clinical Science Research Solutions. Yeah, it's just exciting.
It is.
Just really raring to go. I put down as a note, where do we start? What if somebody is interested in this, or is there a particular candidate that you would have in mind, or are you just willing to field anyone who might be interested?
Well, basically, if you are working in the healthcare fields, let's say if you're a nurse, or even if you're a doctor, you can still keep your practice with that. A CNA, medical laboratory scientist like myself, physical therapist, any healthcare related industry that you're in, I can still help flip you into the clinical research space. So those would be the qualifications, and also you have to have a bachelor's degree. Because right now, as I said, since the market is so competitive, they're looking for sponsors, and CROs are looking for that, not patient, but candidate that has the BS level. And then it goes on to the master's and PhD or doctorate level to depend upon the position that they're looking for.
Okay, most that get into this are not going to know very much about what it is, so that training is paramount. What time frame are you kind of looking at? Or again, does it depend which position you're looking at?
Well, for this particular, to get you into the industry, my program is set up for 6 months. And then I will, even after the 6 months, I will still want to stick with you until you land the role that you are looking to get into. I will connect you with the people that I'm connected with, do job referrals. As I said, interview preps. We're going to, if you tell me, I can open it up and say these are the job opportunities that are available to you, and then we're going to reverse engineer from that point. So we're going to work backwards from where you want to actually end up.
Well, part of this is going to be the coaching aspect of what you do because, again, because of its newness, you're going to help guide them. Is that the best way to look at it? I'm going to guide you. I'm not going to tell you what to do?
Absolutely. Step by step.
How do you see that working?
Again, we're going to have a virtual phone call. I'm going to see where you are in your career space, where you want to go, and that's whenever get to know each other. And that's whenever I'm going to tell you, hey, these are your options. And then if you don't have a LinkedIn account, we're going to do a LinkedIn rebranding because LinkedIn is the place where professionals are. And that's going to be your best bet to get yourself out there. And branding can be something that I'm doing right now. I'm advocating for myself. I'm letting people know the knowledge that I have. I'm letting people know what I have to offer in a research naive area. I'm letting people know that, hey, this is what I can help you with. Branding is all about who you are and what you can do and whatever is going to help you shine. And that's what the sponsors and the hiring managers want to see, something that's unique from them.
Well, and the good thing about LinkedIn in particular, Facebook perhaps the same, is that you get to put your own profile out there. And it's amazing the number of people who are out there fishing, looking at profiles. And so it's very important that you make sure that you have that done correctly. And quite honestly, I wouldn't know how to do my own. Mine's very basic. I'm 71 years old. I don't care who sees me or is impressed by what I put on there. Do they really care what I did when I went to high school 50 years ago? Well, maybe. But it is important to have somebody who says, oh, listen, I got a little background on this. I know what the important things are. You feel you have that expertise to be able to guide us that way.
Absolutely. If you go and look at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see I have it set up in a professional way. You need to have some kind of a professional headshot, a really nice headshot, and you also need to have a description in the bio about yourself and what you're looking to do and what you have to offer.
I thought when you said the headshot, you were looking back at Dwayne, because Dwayne
Yes.
does headshots. Well, I say it almost in a joking way, but I shouldn't. Professionally done headshots shine over those that, hey, I got a camera, I can take a picture. Well, if you're on that level and that's what you want, I can deliver it for you. But if you want a professionally done headshot, which is important, that's the first thing somebody's going to see. And I mean, this thing is old as dirt, and that is the first impression is only done once.
Absolutely.
And so it's important that you look good on there. Well, as we try to figure out, am I a candidate for this? Is this one of those things? Don't overanalyze that. Just give me a call. I'll tell you whether you're a candidate.
Yes, absolutely. That's the purpose of having the virtual phone call. That's included in my package. We're going to have a phone call. We need to see if we can work well with each other. You need to be coachable, and you have to be willing to learn because you're stepping into something that's new, and learning is key. You have to be flexible.
Well, and what I really like, and this seems to be the way that we are headed, or already way down the road, and that is to have these virtual meetings. I mean, you see it done with the doctors, virtual visits, and it seems like you can learn a lot from somebody by gazing into their eyes, and they better be focused on yours.
Absolutely.
I would think. How is that going to work, the virtual visits?
Well, I have it set up to where you can do Microsoft Teams for virtual phone calls, videos, or I have what they call StreamYard. So I will give them the option to do either, what I do is I send them a link. We set up a time and say, hey, we're going to meet for an hour. And then I send them the link, and then they click on the link, and then we're able to meet virtually. So I can basically teach anybody in the United States across the world with the virtual program that I have.
Well, I've seen those work, and so I think that has to be the way to go. Let's take our final time out. When we come back, a couple of final thoughts from Alicia Moore, and we'll do that after these messages. And welcome back. My guest today is Alicia Moore, the owner of Clinical Science Research Solution. I have learned a lot today. Tell us what you would like to leave us with.
Yes, if you are looking to get into the clinical research space, I am here to help you every step of the way. Once I have my physician to partner with, we're going to be able to open up our clinical research site, and then in that case, you'll be able to have an internship with me, and I'll be able to show you what you need to know. You'll get the hands-on experience that you need. So that's all I have.
Well, and as you said, as we are in commercial break, that is, if you know a physician that might be interested in this, you please let them know about it. Alicia, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Dwayne, thanks for your being in here.
Thank
I think
you.
we need to have, I think you and I
Yes.
need to get together here.
That sounds good.
And we will do an interview with you, because I think it's fascinating, those who are photographers. The particular camera that he was using, I said, it's not the camera. it's the person behind the camera.
Exactly.
Thanks again to Joe Bob for keeping us on the air today, and thank you. And we'll be talking automobiles next week with Jared Ritter. We'll see you then.